This is the first video for my Python series. For every single one of the videos inside of this introduction to Python series or this beginner's guide, I'll put a link down in the description for the playlist if you're curious, if you want to learn all of Python, of course. But for this first video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to print and how to comment. It's very simple. Python is one of the easiest languages, one of the first languages that most people learn because it's so easy. It's not going to lie, it's kind of like plain English. So let's talk about printing. So we want to print something. We put down print, put in a parenthesis, right? And then we put in these quotation marks. Now, here's the thing about these quotation marks. It specifies that you're printing out a string. So a string is just anything like this, right? Just a bunch of letters inside of a quotation marks. As long as you have the quotation marks, you have a string. Okay, you can put numbers, you can put anything. Now there's a couple special symbols that change things in the string, but I'll get into those later. For now, you just need to understand that if you print something, you need to put the string, the quotation marks, or if you want to print a string, you need to put the quotation marks, and then you write down hello world. Let's write down hello world. That is the first thing that a lot of people write down when they first start learning a language or when they first start coding. Hello world. Now, how do you actually print this, right? What's the point of doing this? Well, the point of doing this is also for bug fixing and for bug testing, seeing if things are working properly by printing out specific variables later on. But printing is a very useful tool. It's a very fun tool too. But I'm using PyCharm, most integrated development environments. So these are called IDEs for short, just places where you type down your code and then you can run the code. PyCharm is an example of an IDE. But you just usually click this play button. For a lot of the Python IDEs, and you can just run this. And here's the thing. I printed what's inside of this string. Now, I could change this string however I want, right? All it does is it'll print into the terminal. This is called the terminal. But let's print out what's up Beijing. All right, let's print out what's up Beijing. And it prints out the string what's up Beijing. Now, you can also comment in Python. So comments are very useful because usually when you have larger scale programs, you're going to need to comment out different sections. So if you have a very large program, you want to separate your code into sections and comment out what each part does for other people to read or for even you to read yourself later on. Comments are very useful because, trust me, you work on a project, you come back a week later, you're going to forget absolutely everything, okay? So these comments help out. Let's say that this comment is printing for the first time. And the thing about this comment is that it does nothing, right? It does nothing to your code. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't affect anything. It's just for you to read and for other people to read, all right? So this is just a useful note, and in Python, you just simply use a hashtag. Now, if you want to comment out multiple things, so let's say you want to print multiple things. Let's print out multiple things. And I'll teach you how to comment out multiple things at the same time. But let's say let's print hello computer Jitty. Okay. So hello computer Jitty. If we run this code, you see how we write down hello computer Jitty and what's up Beijing on each line. So each print will create its own line. All right. So if I wanted to, let's say, separate these even more, so I want to create a line between these guys, I would just print out nothing. I don't even have to add the quotes, just print out nothing, and you separate. So this right here just prints out nothing. Python does it automatically for you. It skips on to the next line every time you print. There can be a couple of things that you can do that prevents this, but of course this is just how I guess the compiler does it, or how the code does it. Now let's go ahead and comment out all this, and you can actually comment out all this by highlighting it all, clicking Control and then slash. That is all. If you click Control slash, it comments on everything that you highlighted, and this is very useful, especially if you want to comment out a bunch of things and comment out a bunch of code that you don't need anymore. You can undo by clicking Control Z. You can redo by clicking Control Y, right? Now, let's look at some other features. So, the thing about printing and the thing about coding is that, well, you can do math. So let's say you have a couple integers, 1 and 1. If you wanted to add them together and print out the result, this isn't going to print out. Keep in mind, this is not going to print out just 1 plus 1, all right? This is going to print out the answer of 1 plus 1. So if I run this, it prints out 2. Now, if you want to just simply print out 1 plus 1, you would put a quote. Accidentally put that colon. But if you put in the quotes, you're simply printing out the string. Your computer doesn't care about doing all the math or anything like that. It just simply prints out what you have inside of the quotation marks. All right. And there's a couple other things that you can also do. you can do something called string concatenation. So you can actually combine these two strings together. You can combine these two strings, these texts inside of the quotations together, and you print out their final result. Now the reason why I put a space here is because if I remove this space right here in the output's going to be gone. So I print it out again, rerun the code. You see how that space I was mentioning before, it's completely gone. And let's talk about another cool feature of commenting. Let's say you have a bunch of stuff, blah, 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 in multiple different lines, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot. Okay. You can actually just put 3 double quotation marks on the top and 3 double quotation marks on the bottom, and it quotes out or comments out everything in between these 3 quotation marks. Last feature that I'm trying to warn you about is that you cannot combine a string and an integer. So it's called string concatenation, right? You can only combine strings. Concatenation is just another way adding them together. Okay. So before you can add 2 strings together, but you keep in mind you cannot add a string, which is this right here, in quotes, and an integer together, which is just an integer. There's no quotes around it. The reason why you can't do this is because they aren't the same data type. Now, if you don't know what data types are, I have a video on that in this playlist. But these data types are very important to keep in mind. They are 2 different data types. This is an integer, and this is a string. You need to be careful because you can't actually concatenate these. It's going to give you an error. It's going to very nicely, these compilers point exactly where the error is. So it's going to tell you what's the issue. Type error can only concatenate string, not integer to string, which is very useful. It tells you the exact problem. But just keep this in mind. You can only combine these 2 strings together, or you can only combine 2 strings together, 2 integers together. You can't put them both at the same time. Like, for example, if you want to do math, of course, you would have, I don't know, 1 plus 2. This is a string. This is an integer. You can't do math with this. You simply need to remove the quotes, and then now you can do math with this. This will print out 3. So that's all the very basic features for commenting and printing. Of course, I'll cover more in later videos, but hopefully this helped. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing, liking the video. Thank you for watching.